Wednesday, February 28, 2024, 6:30 p.m. You can start the agenda. A Hickok Street Drainage and ARC grant update.
Great. Okay, so for folks that aren't too familiar with the project, this is a large box culvert project, basically taking a stream that now runs through the street and under buildings and relocating it to Hickok Street. And happy to, sit down with you with better drawings and or more information if you'd like to know more. And obviously, I'd like to have engineering there as well because they really know this project a lot, in a lot better depth than I do. It is a complex project. It requires basically tearing up the street. It's going to take some road closures. There's a 12-inch water line relocation, sanitary sewer type relocation. We would be, and I'll get to this in a minute, restoring the street on Hickok Street between Commerce and Main Street, and it will take quite a bit of traffic control measures to make it work. Also, all of the power lines will be underground as well. The project, it should be updated. It's not out to bid anymore. We did hold a pre-bid conference in January, mid-January. The bids were received February 5th. Like most things these days, they were over budget, and so we have approached VDOT to see if there are additional dollars that can be put towards the project because some projects are not moving forward and they may not be able to use the money, so it may go back in a pool that we may be able to take advantage of. We also have a strategy for relocating some capital dollars for projects that are budgeted but are not ready to go because we budgeted the capital, but they're actually a year to 2 years out based on the funding.
Can you remind me what the amount was that we were given or that we're going to spend on this project again?
Yeah, so this is it was budgeted about two and a half.
And then what's the estimated amount that we received from the bid?
So it was significantly over. I mean, it was 70 to 80% over. I haven't seen the exact figures because I haven't been involved in that part of it, but I know it's going to take a little, it's going to be council's decision because it'll take a budget amendment, but we will come with some solutions on how that can be accomplished. And we're hoping that there'll be additional grant dollars at VDOT, would be ideal.
80-20 or something like that.
So as revenue sharing, this was 50-50. Yeah, sure. So then we're still hoping that we can work with the low bidder and construction starting in summer of 24, expected completion of fall 25. This is a schematic of the box culvert project. This is Great Road on Main here. So basically we would be putting in the stream in this box culvert here. Any water that drains this way would be diverted to the box culvert onto Hickok Street, and then it would come down Commerce Street and then go back out towards College between the two buildings. Dovetailing with that is the Appalachian Regional Commission grant for $275,000 that we did receive, and they're working with us as far as getting the project done in concert with the drainage project. Once we would work with the contractor for the drainage project to figure out when the right time to start this project would be. They might not be have finished all phases of the drainage project, but we could hopefully get started on the Hickok Street phase for the farmers market structure. We're finalizing the A&E design services contract with Hill Studio. We are not gonna enter into that until until we get, until, that budget amendment, if that's the direction it goes, is in front of council. And then Hill Studio has already had conversations with the design engineer for the drainage project. They've worked with this group quite a bit in the past, so there would need to be quite a bit of coordination between those two projects, and so that's going to be an important piece of it. And then once we have Hill Studio on board, we'll get the project management team together this spring and start with the design of the final design of the structure. These were some concept drawings that were done during the community gathering space project, or that were done during the placemaking. There was basically a downtown plan. We did a plan for Cambria, and then we also did a plan for Midtown. And so this was the number one strategy that came out of that plan, based on public input. And so this was a concept drawing of that, with the arcade here next to the existing building. This would be where you'd have an active market. It was the direction of council, to keep the street open for traffic. So this is what it would look like on a market day. This does have to take into account what the consideration of the owners, it's a separate project, but what the owners were considering for the Alcorns, as far as if they go for a 3-story building. So that's what you're seeing here.
Andrew?
Yes.
I'm sorry to bother you.
Sure.
Is there a way that we can bring this to council when the whole thing happens with the cost of the project? And then maybe you guys can give us an update on what the cost will be without having to move the creek, and just have the ARC grant work on the Hickok Street project.
Yeah.
And what's the cost going to be without having that? Because I know, you probably remember in 2018 when we had the town had those meetings with those private owners, which the town wanted to do the moving of they were just doing Hickok Street, but they were not planning to do anything else on that other side.
So you're saying not to take the $2 million, or to not use the VDOT dollars?
No, use the VDOT dollars.
We would have to do the drainage project.
Well, I know we have to do the drainage project, but not to go all the way over there, but just to start on Hickok Street. We can talk about that one another time.
Yeah.
So we don't take so much time today.
Very good. And we are, we had applied for $500,000 for ARC grant, and we did receive $275,000. So we were originally thinking that we would be incorporating a lot of the work for Hickok Street, the final finishes, what it would look like, and into that ARC grant, since we received less dollars, and because the drainage project, you're tearing up the street, and part of it is street restoration. We're putting the street restoration dollars, we're taking the dollars from the drainage project and using that for Hickok Street. And what we're proposing with the drainage project is really continuing with stamped concrete, the downtown sidewalk pattern, and basically enlarging it onto Hickok Street. So here you have Hickok Street on your left, and then this is a diagram of basically from the building here, you would have a 5-foot sidewalk. This would be concrete, and then you'd have concrete stamped brick. You'd have soldier course across the street about every 15 feet. And then you'd have soldier course here on the right-hand side, and then this would be about there would be a curb and gutter here, because everything's going to be draining here. And I have another schematic that'll show this better. and then a 7-foot sidewalk with the 2-foot sitting wall, like a seating wall that will be, against the church property, which will be a nice feature for gathering and for people to sit and enjoy food and music or what have you. And, so this is an up-close view again. You have the sidewalk, stamped concrete, street, and then the farmer's market structure would go somewhere in this area. And then,
Is that a one-way street or two-way street?
well, I mean, it's been the direction for council to keep it open to traffic, you know,
Yeah, I
whether
know.
it's one way or
So
two-way.
that's what
Yeah.
was gonna.
Yeah, so right now, I mean, this is without, you know, the structure. So, I mean, you know, the farmer's market structure, so, that, you know, this could be two ways for sure. And then here's Hickok Street. And then again, here's a cross section from the building with the sidewalk. And you see here that it's at grade here, so because it drains from here down over to the curb gutter here. And so, and then you'll have the sidewalk with the seat wall here. I guess it's calling for 1.5 feet at this location. And that's a little bit of a comparison there between and the proposed improvements. That's the same information, but I like that drawing. I like the, you know, that automatically happened with PowerPoint. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool too. And I can pull that up if, you know, if that's more helpful to see as well. I think it zooms in a bit more.
Does the closure on those streets downtown, Depot Street and things like that, do they have to do with the new downtown bathroom, or does it have to do with?
They do. So the new downtown bathroom, they're still moving towards having it, installation in, I believe it's I believe it's in March, that they're hoping to have it in the, so they're starting the utility work.
How the guy is saying.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And so that's, you know, that's kind of the summary that I have for you right now. That's where we are. You know, council will be getting more information on the project as we know kind of what the gap is going to be.
We don't have a meeting
funding
before then or whatever, but it'd be nice if we find out before if you have any information.
Okay.
That's the best we're gonna take it to town council. Do you have any questions? I don't. Does anybody here have any questions? All right, Farmers Market Day. Andrew.
Great. So I do really appreciate Austin Gilmore and Rachel Benson coming out this evening. Austin is our certified farmers market professional, and he's been our manager for 2 seasons now. Going on 2. And Rachel, you've been here for 3 years, yeah, great. And as our special events coordinator, so and they do an amazing job with you know, rocking Main Street, and then a farmers market every week, and then July 4th, and I'm bringing back. You're like February's fine. I don't need to think about.
But before you start, I actually have to say a comment and compliment you on all the stuff that you do. Not only setting up for all the things, but you actually put yourself and make the things happen. So you're out there working with everybody else. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
I don't know who it's gonna.
So yeah, so I'll hand it over to you all.
Yeah, so I wanted to give an update tonight. I'll go over to start with some of our 2024 goals. Vendor recruitment, vendor relationships, and growing attendance is something that we try to focus on every season. We do feel that this should be an emphasis again going into this season. For vendor recruitment, some of the things that we do for that is visit local markets, trying to get to know vendors, possibly see if they are a fit. We try not to necessarily steal from other markets, but we like to see if there are vendors that, you know, fit what we are wanting, if we can see if they would want to be with us as well. Like social media ads or things that we do, word of mouth from our current vendors, and things like that. Vendor relationships is a big thing that we try to focus on every year. This is something that in my first full year last year, I really got to see that firsthand, how important that is. To keep a vendor with us, they want to see that you're working with them and wanting to make the best for them. So things that we do for that are helping to set up and tear down, getting to know them and their business, showing that we're making major efforts to make the market successful, listening to any suggestions that they have, and we try to check in with them as much as possible. Like I said, growing attendance is something that every year we obviously want to grow the attendance. Methods we plan to use for this upcoming season, increase promoted ads on social media, a more consistent content posting on social media. We want to add, we did add a welcome table near the entrance at the end of last season, that went really well. It was more of a one-on-one interaction with each person that came in, and that worked really well. Felt like that was a good idea that we came up with, and it worked out well. Flyers to local businesses, yard signs and other signs around town, and word of mouth. We always want to make a good interaction with people where they share about the market to everyone around town that wants to come visit us. Something I've been working on is the Virginia Farmers Market Association Market Manager Certification. It's a 14-week course that goes through things like market administration, marketing and social media, public safety, community health, market planning, things along those lines. The rest of those are listed there. Some of our big special dates that we have for this season, the first day at the market, that's the opening day, that's May 16th. Mark the calendars for that. Then Kids Day is May 30th. Superhero Day is June 27th. Our Christmas in July lined up perfectly on July 25th. Sports Team Day is for August 29th. One of our bigger ones is Dog Day, and it's September 26th. And then our last one actually falls on Halloween, which we end up celebrating that anyways. So it's our Halloween and Fall Festival. One of the other things that I've been trying to work on is bringing live musicians twice a month. We try to keep that. We tried to keep that once a month last year, and we felt that those were our biggest days. So I'm trying to make it to where it's more frequent this upcoming season. So I'm trying to get that confirmed for the second and last week of each month.
I think Randy had sent in a weekly update that
With the numbers.
yeah, and
You guys changed the hours too.
right. That's what I was going. Yeah. So you were seeing that the hours that there was a strong demand between 2 to 3, more than the 6 to 7 p.m.
Right.
and so I could see that as well. You know, with the especially with folks that may get off work early, or maybe retired, and so they're lining up, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a lot last year that were passing through as well, that were coming in through that time, and it seemed to always be that time. So never know what loyal customers we could keep if we, listen to that.
Right.
I'm really glad to hear that you're getting the training too.
Yep.
It's probably the different ages you may be getting during those times, because I do know from working with older people too, they tend to work or just go out during early hours,
Right.
and then especially because of eyesight and issues.
Are any of your vendors giving demonstrations, or are they just selling items?
Demonstrations as in just how to sell their certain items, or what?
Like cooking demonstrations,
Oh,
or,
no,
or
what-
preparing,
If it's an artist,
I've had,
they're on site doing.
last year we had a produce vendor that actually gave samples. They didn't necessarily do demonstrations of anything that they were doing. In my time, we have not had that. That is something that I believe they've had in the past.
Weaving.
We did, yes, thank you. We did have basket weaving demonstration on one day last year, so that was one thing we had, so.
I was wondering if, there would be a possibility for you guys to do the farmer's market downtown, maybe a couple times a year instead of just switch it up. I know it's a lot more convenient to do it, at the rec center, obviously, because of many reasons. But if you have the ability to somehow or another combine those with the events downtown, and if there was, I know you guys collaborate in so many things, and you're there working all the time on events and stuff anyway, but just giving an opportunity to do a, in another, if our hope is to have a farmer's market to come back down to the downtown area, I think that you cannot lose that, you know what I mean? And so you definitely have to, because I cannot really tell you, when we move it back, if we ever move it back downtown, you're really gonna have people complaining about why it wasn't moved. It was more convenient at the rec center. I could do my yoga class, and I could come out and have a fruits and vegetables, and so I think if you do a little bit of mix it up, I'm not saying just every time you have every week, because you guys are having it very often. Maybe just do one downtown and maybe do the other one, and maybe find a different location for that, especially with the events that we have downtown. I don't know how feasible that is, so I'm just going out of the box here and just requesting for something that probably is, I know I'm not gonna get an answer right now, and I don't want an answer right now, but think about those things, because that, as a town council person, I wanna make sure that we have the most information that we can get. And I know one of the things that we heard all the time was that the amount of people who are getting on the rec center is nothing like what we used to get downtown. It's a lot more. I see the numbers all the time when you guys send it during the times you guys are open. And it's definitely a big change. And I see it because I go to you guys and I see you guys all the time over there. But I just kind of wanted to see if that's something that we're planning in the future. Are we spending taxpayers' money in the right direction? So that's just.
Yeah, we can definitely talk about it and talk to Brad as well, and he can relay any information to Andrew and see if that's a possibility for the season. We have 22 or 23 weeks, season, depending on the year.
I was looking at it today, I do think it ended up still being 24, even after the one this week, so.
We can take a look at that and see logistically and talk to vendors and stuff, and then Brad and
In the July 4th event does incorporate the farmer's market vendors as well, downtown, yeah. And Christmas at the market is much,
So now, with Peacock Street project, that's probably not gonna, that's not gonna.
It could come, yeah, that could be something we'd have to work out.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, and now I gotta mention something, I just, for disclosure here, this has nothing to do with me wanting more businesses downtown. As far as I have businesses downtown, so this is completely, just being open over here. I don't want you guys to think that because I want more business, obviously, I'm just part of this group, and I just want to make sure that we have the best for the area, for the whole town, so.
absolutely.
Okay. That was, do you guys have any more, comments about the farm?
I have something to it.
Sure, huh?
So to that point, I know the numbers have been a little better, so you said, I didn't know, but you could hear that. As downtown does start to revitalize, there'll be more draw to be there. I think it'll be a difference comparing numbers to the past success, and then if there's more businesses downtown, that people coming to the farmer's market and maybe wander through a coffee shop or go to a restaurant or go to a retail space that's now downtown. I'm talking future. So just being aware of that as we calculate the need for it to be back down. Like right now, the draw there is convenient, like from a driving perspective, and the rec center, like you said, you're coming out of yoga or you had a kid's sport thing, whatever. But will be a different downtown that it's coming back to ultimately.
Well, and
Hopefully,
I think,
right?
and I
That's
think,
the goal.
and I think I like what you're saying, as far as, you probably realize this too, as most of the citizens and Christians for that, a lot of our growth is actually happening by the mall. And so, one of the main reasons, if I recall, before I was in town council, farmers market was created to bring people downtown.
Right.
And so, that's why I am just so want to make sure that we keep something going, because if this doesn't happen, I can see it from what I have seen in the past years. If this is not feasible for the taxpayers, I cannot go in, as a person that I'm very much tied with the money, I don't want to come to the saying to the citizens, hey, let's bring it downtown all of a sudden, and then expect people to show up, and then not deal with the fact that it's being done at a place that is very convenient. I mean, I live closer to the downtown, and I can tell you, the rec center is convenient to me for many reasons. You know, it allows me to go to the mall and go to other places, and now there's a park, and who is to say, you know, we may have farmers market at the new Huckleberry Park for once a month, or, you know, just change it up a little bit, you know, and I don't know, I think it would be hard because change is hard for a lot of people, especially for older people. But I think if we give them the idea, hey, let's have it more time downtown, and maybe different locations downtown, just to get people, and downtown is not just Hickox Street, you know, and I think a lot of when I look at it, not looking at it negatively, but it's literally our downtown is like 4th Street. You know, if I really look at it from a perspective, what do we have in the downtown? I want to look at it like it's larger than that. So that's why I like that a lot of the events were changed, you know, more so closer to Town Hall, or sometimes they did it closer to Grand Main, and I think it's nice to just switch it up a little bit.
I know in the interest of time, it's probably not the best time to bring this up, but I do want to point out that we get a lot of feedback about our farmers market being on a day that isn't convenient to people because it's not on a Saturday, and the rec center can't offer it on a Saturday. So that's another area I feel like it might benefit us to switch the day and the location, but keeping in mind that if you start to make a lot of changes back and forth or bouncing it between a lot of different locations, less people probably will come because there's not a consistency for people to know where it's going to be. Yeah.
Well, but that's what I was saying, that if we do it once a month in a different location in the downtown, which is supposed to be coming back to the downtown. The farmers market, when I'm looking at it, it wasn't made to create businesses. You know what I mean? In bring business, because when I see it, I'm a taxpayer too as a business owner. And you see, I mean, I'm just gonna give an explanation because of you being you have a candle store. And there is a lot of people that make candles in other places, and they may want to sell their candles with other products down at the rec center. Well, she's paying real estate taxes too here. She's a business, a local business. So I also don't want to compete with those local businesses. You know, I want to make it where, and maybe you don't think that, but I'm just looking at it from a different perspective, that if our goal is to bring more people downtown, eventually, you know, and this is going to move downtown, I know the days don't work, and I know change is hard, but that's why I was mentioning maybe do once a month, and as long as people like to be notified. If we notify people that it's going to happen once a month at the downtown location, I mean, we're having it very frequently, and that's amazing. We're having it every week. It's a lot of places don't even do every week, you know.
I think our downtown businesses would be more likely to say that it's helping to bring customer base to them than to say that it's competing. Just, you know, with it from the real estate tax perspective.
Well, if you have it at the rec center, I feel like it's competing for the downtown business. Now, if you have it in the downtown area, that I wouldn't consider that competing.
Okay.
I think, yeah, I think it, it has really helped a lot of communities. I think that's why the idea started, so many years ago, to be a community economic development tool for that center of town, I mean, we have a lot of great places in town, but we do have one, historic downtown. We're fortunate we have two, but we have one larger, and that's where the courthouse was, and that's where, the Center of Commerce was.
And this is where incorporating those businesses is so important. I really like the Halloween event where, I mean, there were a huge amount of people going to Hurricane Dollar store because the event had happened to be, and now all of a sudden you had to go and fill out and get information about her little store. I thought it was the cutest thing ever.
Yeah, I'll say for me, I enjoyed it when it was downtown, and I went much more frequently. To me, it's a hassle to make a special trip in where it is now. So I would love to see it come back downtown.
Yep.
And the thing that I like about the farmers market, local businesses can participate. There's no reason why you can't set a booth up with your candles. But it also creates community, and that's very important. The business is important, but community is important as well.
Well, because like business downtown has been mentioned, and I have a business downtown, I'd be all for having the farmers market downtown because from my perspective right now, there's not a ton downtown, so you don't have people meandering the sidewalk. So I don't have customers that necessarily pop in because they're jumping from retail to coffee to whatever. People have to intentionally come to the shop, but I feel like the farmers market downtown may be an encouragement. Even if there's another vendor set up selling candles, we offer different things like that, and it just gives them an opportunity, and me as a business owner, to maybe see new faces, things like that, and having a 4-hour farmers market once a week.
And this is
exposes more, and maybe we'll bring in more businesses downtown with the hope of more exposure on market day.
And this is just an idea. I know we're not talking about just downtown businesses. We can bring this one up another time, but I would like to see with DCI, with many of the members from DCI being involved here today, that maybe one of the ideas is to create a special coupons between all the business owners downtown to say, hey, if you go to the candle shop, you get 5% off today. If you go to the ice cream shop down the road on this location, you get another 5% off. You go to the museum, you get 5% off of all the stuff that they have. I think just working with the DCI can be a really good idea.
It's definitely on our radar to do something like that, but.
Sounds good. All right, are we good with that one, or can we move on to small business solution, which is very similar? Thank you guys for your
Thank you very much.
Well, I know you guys have time. This may relate to you guys too, right, Amanda? A lot of the stuff that you're doing, because your job is to increase businesses in the area, and they are part of.
Well,
maybe a farmer's market vendor can actually be part. I know I'm asking for extra time.
I don't think you guys need to stay for my piece, honestly, but I do want to maybe connect with you because in the Economic Vitality Committee, we have had some things come up about the farmers market in Blacksburg and changes that have been happening. I'm not sure if it's on your radar or not already, but I would love to talk about that a little bit more, or maybe even have some of the DCI other members present to do that. And it just doesn't need to be here at this meeting, to take up more time tonight, so. All right, thank you.
Thank you guys for showing up.
Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate it.
Yeah, so, if you're ready for me to go on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Small Business Solutions is, I think this is more because I think Kim might have had some questions because she wasn't involved with my position starting here with the town. Yeah, and so, just to give you a really, high overview of what happens is they brought me in to help with both retention of our existing businesses and recruitment of new businesses. And the retention piece might be helping folks with challenges that they're experiencing, things that they're having with marketing, if they want to expand and move into a bigger location, just knowing what properties are available that could be, where I could direct them to go, that kind of thing from the perspective of retaining the folks that are here. Anything that they have as a challenge that's going to potentially have their business move or close, I want to try to help with that. From the perspective of recruitment, And that's where actually most of my time is spent, I feel like, because the majority of the clientele that come to meet with me are people that have great ideas for businesses. They just don't know where to start or what to do to get their business open, or how, where can they put their business, or what they need to do for the steps and that kind of thing. So it's really that I meet with folks one-on-one. I go through a wayfinding meeting with them in a way. I learn where they're at, where their hang-ups might be, where they're trying to go, or what they're trying to accomplish, and then I provide them with a roadmap, essentially, on the steps that they need to take in order to get there. And so they can take their time to do that, or they can do it very quickly. They can meet with me again if they get hung up. So it's sort of, that's like the really high overview of the basics of what I do. And I'm proud to say that I started, and there really hasn't been a ton of advertising. So, I mean, there's a lot of networking from going to ribbon-cutting events and getting involved with folks at the Chamber of Commerce and different groups of people. And I have already served 55 brand-new clients for this year, and I haven't even been here a year yet. And the SBDC, who had been here around for the longest time, I think reported last year that they served 60 Christiansburg-based businesses in the year prior. So I think that I'm probably going to hit that number this year. So I'm proud to say that, you know, it's been a great success. There are people that take my information and say, out of hell with this, I'm not going to follow any of it. And there's other people that say, this is awesome information, I'm going to, you know, take the steps and go through this and get my business where it needs to be. So hopefully that answers a little bit about it, and I know we can set up a meeting to discuss it a little bit more.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any questions by anybody else
Yeah,
on what
I think that would be helpful, because that is really just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Yes.
The work that she's done, and then also kind of looking at one of the items that we asked Amanda to look at right away, and is to create a database on what kind of available property do we have in town.
Well, that's my next question.
Yeah, and so with that, she kind of went through the town and divided the town into how many districts?
I have 10 commercial districts that I distinguished, but it's not something that the town necessarily did.
I would like to look at that in detail.
Yeah.
And I think, Joe Connick, have you seen that information? I don't think so.
I don't honestly have it all on one map anywhere. Like, I know what it is by each district, and it's based on our commercial. Yeah, I think I can.
I would love to.
Yeah.
we
Just
can
to
work
be able
with
to
that,
define,
with
so I know what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I certainly could define it, because I have it defined, but each individual area, not all on the same map.
Yeah, that would be fabulous
And,
if you could do that.
yeah,
But I
certainly.
would love to sit, because that was my next question, you know. What's available as far as real estate to be developed? What's for sale? What's for lease?
Yeah.
You know, what can be done with those
And it
things?
changes.
And what district are they in? And
It changes all the time, and really,
I'm sure.
when I finished the property inventory project, the day that I finished it, really, it went out of
I would like to
date.
just start with downtown.
Yeah, and you know, just to give you an example too of a little snippet of a success story, the Graybeal Tax and Accounting, where they just had their ribbon cutting yesterday. They reached out to me in November to look for properties, and that was the top property on the list that I had provided to them. So it was one of those folks ended up putting their business here based on knowing, you know, property that might be available from contacting me. And so, I feel like it's knowing the properties, it's a big piece. I think probably, I don't know what percentage of the clients that get in touch with me are asking about property, but I have a fair number of folks that just say, I just want to know what's available, and I can provide them what's available, and a lot of times we don't have what they're looking for, and I can say this is the closest to what you're asking, and we don't have a lot. I mean, at the time I finished the property inventory project and I presented to town council, I think at that time we had about 15% or so underutilized or vacant commercial spaces. I don't think that we're even near that. I think it's a lot lower than that now. But I'm not 100% on the actual, you know, percentage, but yes, it's something we can go over for sure.
Okay.
And Johanna just asked about,
The comprehensive plan can actually help a lot.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't specify the business owners and things like that, but it has a lot of information about all the different areas in the town and how they.
The land that's available.
And the comprehensive plan and our placemaking plans have defined certain areas, but there were a lot of gaps, and that's what Amanda was able to do, was to look at those gaps and really just define all of our are areas that are zoned commercial, and then also industrial.
Yeah, it's all of it, all of anything
Yeah.
that's business related,
Yeah, right, yeah.
industrial, commercial day.
So it really goes beyond, we defined downtown and the area between downtown and uptown as midtown, and then uptown is around the mall area. But beyond that, we're missing big gaps on Roanoke Street and Radford and out Main Street. And so that's what the,
Work in
Amanda's been
progress.
able to, she's been able to find those areas, and then also to, so we don't necessarily have areas in the comprehensive plan that specifically speak to, say, the Radford Road commercial area. Not that we can in our next update. I think that would be really good to start to define how, what is our vision for each, area of town. And Roanoke Street is a very long street, and it has very different, characteristics. It's very different around downtown as it is to around the bypass to the motor mile and beyond.
Roanoke Street alone has 4 commercial districts that I have defined, because we looked at it and said these, look at just motor mile by itself is kind of a very specific, genre of businesses that are right there, and it's not like anything else anywhere else. So, we have some, a district beyond that one, and then 2 more towards downtown. So, yeah, but I'm happy to meet anytime to discuss this a little bit in a little bit more detail and not take up all these fine folks' time.
That's a grand update, please.
Yes. So I understand Johanna asked for sort of a proposed timeline for the next grant run. And I looked at it and I feel very confident that we could run the next proposed grant cycle starting July 1st as advertising, which puts us at a place, Johanna, after the budget has been approved, so we know that we're already moving forward. I would be hesitant to want to advertise the facade grant program if it doesn't get approved by council by that time. And so we could advertise through the end of August, but starting August 1st, we could start to accept applications for the next round. August 1st, through that month, we can also be recruiting our selection committee. I would propose that the selection committee could review applications through the month of September, and that we would contract with the facade grant awardees in the month of October, which would give them their award disbursement time sometime between October and April. So we're still well within the period of time of that fiscal year.
Now I have a question for you, and this is just thinking about the process over the years. I think that there are some amazing businesses that have been helped tremendously through this program. And one of the things that I'm really concerned about this program is the fact that there is a point where you may end up in a stopping point because you have helped the businesses, but not in a way that you're really going to make a difference where everybody's going to really see that impact. You know what I mean? So what I want to make sure, just being very conscious with the taxpayers' money, just to make sure that we don't continue to help maybe that one business over time, so many times, to the point where it looks like we're giving favoritism to some businesses, and not really. I feel like it's really hard, and that's why I was trying to plan with you. You have heard me over years. Andrew has heard me over years talking about, maybe it's a smaller amount. Maybe we have tried so many things by now, trying to figure out how can we get more people to apply for the program. How can we make it more easier for people? And obviously, we enlarged the area, and we even with town council approval, we even lowered the age approval for buildings to be approved. But I'm just kind of really concerned, being fiscal conservative with the amount of money we have. We have so many things. I look at our budget, and I'm glad that you brought that up about the budget. Because I spend a lot of sleepless nights thinking about how are we going to pay for those things, and I know you guys are doing the same thing. But I really want to make sure that I am very good with the people's money. And I cannot go on and say, well, I want to lower taxes, but you're spending all this money. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that I'm conscious on all the decisions that we make, that I make, because I only have control over the bullet that I have. But just being consciously oriented, how do I make those decisions knowing that maybe this is not the best long term. So maybe I can have ideas from you as you're working with all these businesses. Maybe you'll come up with an idea and say, Johanna and Kim or Town Council, I think maybe instead of doing a facade grant this year, we'll do like a business grant this year of giving, I don't know, help with something else. I know that you asked for some things not too long ago on Town Council to help with business recruitment. But maybe it's a different way. Maybe it's, I don't know what that looks like. Yeah, and so I'm just speaking out loud here and just saying, I want to make sure that we're conscious with everything that we do. And that's why it was so important for me to have a group of people that were making those decisions. Now, I don't want to make those decisions by myself, and I'm sure Kim doesn't want to either, because it's a lot of responsibility. I want to make sure that if I get a phone call from a business owner that's concerned on the other side of town, or which in the case, but that's what happened in the past, well, why is it always downtown businesses that are getting the help? I pay tax-paying money, and so just being very conscious of how we spend the money and who are we helping and how are we helping them.
It's interesting that you bring this up, because I had some proposed changes for next year's program too, and I don't know if this is necessarily the space to talk about it, but I did want to decrease the age again because of how few applicants we had in this last round, which I do think opens it up to more. Keeping it open still to the entire town, I think, is important, and I do feel like, over the long term, when you have a business like Ashley's that has a great look because she's gone through the facade grant program with her business, that improves the look over time throughout town, because people want to compete with that, so the next door neighbor might be, or the one across the street might say, oh, now my property looks like crap, and compared to that, and I want to fix it up. So it does have an impact that is over time. We are going to see that impact in how it's changing, and it does have an effect on our economic standpoint. And speaking of the economic standpoint, I would love for us to consider the economic value of our nonprofits in considering this facade grant program, because they also contribute to our economy, and it would be nice for them to also be able to participate in a program that helps to fix up the town. Just a thought, something to consider over time maybe. In addition to that, previous awardees that have been allowed to access that money but don't, because they decide not to do the work, they won a grant but don't put the money into the building, I don't think we should allow them to apply the next year, because they prevented somebody else from being able to do that by taking those dollars, right, for them being the awardee, but then they didn't spend the money, and so we lost somebody else's upgrades that could have been done potentially by having that person apply and not do the work. So that was another area that I would like to see the program changed. And so I think I have some other ideas. I don't know that we necessarily have to have, this past round we didn't have an artist rendering, which means that we don't have a cap at $4,500, we had a cap at $5,000. And of the 3 awardees that we had this past year, this last round, one has already dropped out and said they didn't even want to submit their budget, their itemized budget for approval. And so we have the potential to have 2 grant awardees this year. That's it. And so we're talking about $10,000.
Well, but that's still taxpayers' money, so
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And so, as far as there is a lot of things, and this is just my opinion, obviously I gotta talk to Kim or whatever she can say something. But I actually don't think that we kept away from somebody from getting money, because we didn't have enough.
This past round, probably not, but it could in a future year.
And I agree with that one. I think that one is definitely a great one, as far as the nonprofits, I think it's being communicated even by town council members, that the reason why not, there is community support grants. And so and in reality, they may be supporting, you know, a great thing, and I'm not against nonprofits. I think they're great, but at the same time, they're not paying real estate taxes. They're not paying a lot of the other things that other businesses are having to pay for. And so I really think that, personally, I don't feel like this is a business grant, to be honest with you, and that's how I see it. I also see it, if you look at it from a perspective that you want to make it look like this was to create more businesses. And I know that nonprofits, one specifically, is trying to do that, but at the same time, I just don't think that it should be, that there is community support grants for that.
Well, the community support grants, I think, help with the organization operation of the actual nonprofit, but as far as fixing up the building that might be next to a retail space that is a business, it's all about the economic impact that we're creating. And I think that allowing that nonprofit to be able to upgrade their facade to also look nice so that their neighbor also, you know, feels like they need to update theirs. It's all
they
an
can use
economic
the
impact.
money for their facade if they want to choose to do that.
Yeah.
I think that's
When money, yeah. Yeah,
And so-
I know, it's something to consider, I just wanted to throw it out there.
Okay, but and so I didn't understand the one about the artist thing. Can you explain it to me? What were you trying to say again? Because I know we used to pay the $500, and then several ones, and then...
So we opened last grant saying that the maximum award would be $4,500 because the other $500 goes to the artist to create the rendering. And this past round, the selection committee, had decided that the artist rendering wasn't required because people submitted nice drawings to explain what they wanted to do with their properties. And so if they do that in the future, then there is a potential, just like this year, that the maximum grant award could be $5,000. So that's what I just want to make sure that we are able to adjust that and then write up, I guess, about the facade grant, that the maximum award could be $5,000 instead of $4,500.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think it's good. I like the idea of what you said about the ones that didn't do anything for that year to not be considered. I would say there should be penalized for that, yeah. Well, there is, and that one is interesting. I like the 1 year thing, because if you do any more years, you may be penalizing somebody because they had health issues, or they just didn't have the money, or whatever it is. So,
Right.
I mean, there are reasons probably,
I
and
understand.
very legit. I mean,
Yeah.
like people, what is it called?
The Cambria
Cambria Depot. That, I mean, she has reasons why. If you don't have the money, you don't have the money, you know, and so I don't know about that one. I guess we
if
can.
they're applying and they know it's a matching grant, you would hope that they would have the expectation that they are prepared.
Maybe they'll
to
ask for less, you know.
And we did that on the application, and every single applicant applied for the maximum award still, so, yeah.
I don't know. I think we need to have another meeting to discuss
Yeah.
this, instead of just being so much tonight, because there's too much going on.
It's a lot, and I ran the numbers, just so you know, as well, on what looking at buildings that are 25 years and older, buildings that are 35 years and older versus the 50 years and older that we had done in the last round, and so we have those numbers to compare if we, as part of the discussion.
And I really like that you gave us those numbers the last year, because I really thought, I was actually really in shock.
Yeah.
I was in shock that more people didn't actually apply, especially.
ratio was not very high.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I even fought for that one. I was like, we're gonna get so many applications, we're not gonna sleep with, with all these applications. What are you gonna do? You're gonna,
And we got four.
we got 4, so, yeah. Good problem to have.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, so we can table that for now and.
yeah, let's have, we are definitely gonna have to have a meeting, because I want to have more of a precise idea of what we're looking into in here than bringing this like this to town council and just figure out. I think we need to have more ideas, and all these ideas are are good things to consider, for sure.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Andrew, from a budgeting standpoint within the town, why can the town not carry over money that's been budgeted out for a specific?
Sure. And we could, we just have to request that, otherwise it goes into, the unexpended amount.
Yeah,
of the budget.
I think I'd asked that at one point, could that kitty grow where the town would allow for some more substantial facade grants like the town of Whitfield does, which is $15,000 per business. And that's a big investment. But even if you didn't do that, to Johanna's concern about consistently, peeling money away from the taxpayer, if you do have that kitty does, if there's $25,000 in it, you only have 2 applications. Well, roll 15 over to next year, then you're only having to pay full 10 out of the following year's budget, But
And there hasn't been a year, I think the most we've spent probably is 22 to 23,000 out of the years that we've done it.
And I think a lot of it, not carrying the money, I think is one of those things. If you look at our budget, we need every penny there is possible. And that's the one reason why you don't even, I'm not even for my increases for town council. Making the amount of money is not worth doing this, for the money, obviously. But there are reasons that I personally feel like that's money that every year we're getting this tax-paying money, and if it's not used for this, it can be used for the things that are really necessities, your water lines, your sewer lines, all the roads, and all the things that we have that are a big challenge, Valerie, I don't know how she does it, but she makes magic with those numbers, and we are, as you very well know, we're only asking 14 cents for 100 in tax-paying money, and we're carrying the majority of the load. Even from the county doesn't help us much from what I see in the perspective of no police money, no money for a lot of things that we need. And so, and that's just, we can talk about it another time.
If it was the direction of, the committee, or that certainly, that we're expecting that, at a minimum, there would be $15,000 that could be rolled over.
Carried,
That could be carried.
Yeah, because the expenditures this year will be $10,000 max.
And from a staff perspective in the budget, we're keeping, it would be budgeted for the facade grant. If it's budgeted, if it's approved again, would be $25,000. That's what we're anticipating that would come to you all for consideration.
Any questions? Downtown camera discussion.
Okay, so let's see here. So, some folks might not be familiar with, let's see, where's that? Okay. So we have a camera downtown right now. We do have an option if this isn't going to work for you, and of course it doesn't come up automatically. So let me just ignore the man behind the camera. Man behind the curtain. Okay, so we have one camera. Right now, it's at a low position. If we were going to do this permanently, we need to hire it. This is right in front of the sheriff's office, looking at the War Memorial corner, and it's nice, and it was really rainy earlier, and you could barely see anything. And so this was kind of this is a demonstration camera that we did a while back. And it's still kicking along. Our IT folks feel like if we were going to do this we would need a little fancier, we would need a better camera and one that potentially could swivel. This is what it looks like on a nice, little spring day.
If you have to have a PTZ, can I suggest like a 270-degree?
Exactly.
So that way you get three streets that way.
Right.
Or you get all 4 streets that way.
Exactly. So, what they would be proposing would be, so basically a camera mounted to capture the 4 corners at Franklin Street and Main Street, and then the axis camera with 4 lenses with the ability to swivel as well, so the angles could be adjusted and or changed from time to time. We're estimating that this would cost $2,700. I'd like to reserve $500 to $800. This may not be needed if we can do this in-house, but we are in the middle of a large software implementation that's keeping our IT department very busy. So we may need to hire out for this if this is the direction we want to go. We don't think these 4 cameras. I'm sorry.
The purpose of the
Yeah,
camera.
So the original thought was tourism, was to bring attention to downtown, and that's part of the conversation tonight. Is it, I think it was more popular, maybe 5 to 10 years ago than they are now. I think everybody has. It's not as novel as it was, I guess, but it does. We would mount them in a way that people could see what's happening on the corner of North Franklin and Main Street. So, and I think that's been one of the hang-ups is like, is it worth it? Because we're just not seeing it as much anymore happening. Radford has one. Yeah, I know, and that's what I'd love to be able to do.
And I think it was more so, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think one of the directions and the question about was, especially more so for things that were happening in the town. For example, events and parades and things like that, to give the opportunity. And this during COVID, remember, people couldn't get out of the house, so we have been working on this for a little while now. And so back then, people had nothing else to do in the house, so we were trying to figure out how can we make it where people that cannot be in the town, cannot see a lot of the things that are happening, can just literally log in on the website and see, hey, how's the weather in my hometown today? Or, and from being able to see that video, maybe the possibility of them coming back to visit sometime,
I guess the tool, if you had to categorize it, would be downtown promotion tool.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of creepy.
Well, I think because you're seeing it at nighttime, but I think it feels like events downtown and stuff.
People watching you on it.
So the downtown, the DCI economic folks that are here, what do you guys think about promoting downtown in this way? Is that?
I haven't never thought about it, frankly, so.
Well, you're seeing it, look at it in the daytime.
That's beautiful.
I mean, who's watching that?
But I was
Nobody
serious,
right
I'm
now.
serious when I asked, is there any way to tell how many people are viewing it?
It's
They're
not
actually-
live.
It's not live right now. I mean,
There probably will be a way once it's live.
Yeah, that's the intent, it'd be on the website, right, on the town website.
Especially if you do, like, for example, we have some of the most beautiful sunsets. In that direction that is pointing right now, sometimes I'm just driving, because I drive through that every day. But you just see those sunsets on towards the, I guess that is west side of Christiansburg. And they're absolutely gorgeous. Maybe it's just giving the chances for people to really see what the downtown looks like. And,
so this had 4,800 views.
Live view of the Eagle?
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of the, if you go like
So
that,
it's really hard to.
Radford
Radford has one right on Heath Hall in their campus, and that's really nice. I think I saw that they had about 10,000 views. I don't know how long, with a time.
I wonder if we can get,
Into it, like if every
hour, a QR code pops up, and if you were watching live, you could access the QR code and get special something to downtown. Like, is there something to, like, really draw a use, like, where people are like, oh, I have to, I don't know if that's...
It'd be kind of cool too if you could like use a QR code to tell you what events are ever in the area that actually is going on. I mean, you would like, you have it there, you pull the QR code, you look and you see, hey, wow, there's farmers markets going out in the downtown area. Maybe I should head over that way.
Okay, yeah. We wouldn't host this from our server. It would be, basically, we would be using YouTube to host it. So we would just, if we could figure out a way to, to post our messages on it, that gets a little tricky. And the reason why we wouldn't host it is for security reasons.
And I have to make a poster every hour.
Just go out there.
I have a question too about like you know how they have the cameras for the weather channels. I wonder if we can get somehow or another like a way to say, hey, you guys help pay for the camera if we allow you to use the pole or something. I don't know, something stupid, but they have cameras all over the place, and they have them in Virginia Tech.
Right, for at the park on the pavilion, Hilltop Pavilion, and they couldn't commit to it at this time, but they were considering. I think that was something that came from council at one point.
Well, I know I mentioned that one for the park, but this one would be cool too for this. So I don't know. That's just an idea. Maybe a way to help pay for a better camera.
Well, the other thing too is, and then because we were curious about the other day, because we were walking by Antiques on Main and they're replacing that light post that got hit.
Yeah.
And like this camera is out of its view right now because it just hits the corner of the building. I mean, it could be used
For security, if you didn't know who damaged it.
Right.
I mean,
Somebody hit and ran.
It could be a traffic camera for the center.
Well, you probably don't know, but many businesses over time, they have been vandalized and things like that. And maybe there's a possibility of keeping safe within the town to provide security for business owners, on the downtown areas.
I think over time that's been a trend, and we're seeing more cameras pop up, either private or public. So there may be a way to harness
She's got
those photos.
Kim says she's the opposite. She's worried about
I'm for
somebody coming in going and...
I'm for more freedom. So
For an example too, like I used to work at UC Charlotte, and the chancellor that was there when I was there was against cameras on the outside of buildings. He didn't like the look of them. He didn't, he was like you, didn't, felt like you're being recorded all the time.
You are.
Until there was a shooting on campus. And then every single building after that got 260 degree or 270 degree cameras on every corner of the building. So it caught all, especially the ones that were near the edges of campus.
There's a price to be paid for any decision that you make.
Yeah. So
I err on the side of protecting people's personal rights.
Right.
But
if you I've seen both sides.
We do have flexible cameras between the sheriff's department and the police department already.
There's pros and cons to both sides of the aisle.
But if you're going to this area, you better behave, But there were all those cases where BB guns were shot to many business owners. And business downtown area really, really got hit with a lot of this. I wish in the back of our building, which is right next to yours, our whole backyard got vandalized, $8,000 that were spent and just fixing that. We didn't have no cameras down there. Now it looks like a stadium. We have lights, we have cameras, we have everything. Why? And that has kept people away. We haven't had the first issue ever since. But we used to. Well, the first time was like $400 vandalism, and they used to use those stairs up and down and do all kinds of stuff. We used to have drunks on the back of those buildings. So now it's because of the lights and because of cameras, it really keeps people away. And if they know that there is a camera, the chances are they will try to stay away from doing anything. So I am for, you know, cameras in these private places, public places, and if they're, you know, I understand about your freedom and stuff, and I understand about my freedom. I wouldn't want cameras inside my bathroom. But I'm just saying, you know, like this, you're going into a public area, you still expect to have cameras. And so I really feel about the BB gun stuff, because even some of the stuff that we're looking at right now, just to replace one glass of those is $4,000, just each piece. And every single one of those windows were hit with BB guns. That's over $10,000 bill. And it hasn't been replaced. They haven't been replaced for years because that business owner couldn't pay that money.
And I do want to stress that this was, you know, certainly this could be secondary as a safety scenario, but I had not brought the police department in this to see if this would be the most advantageous place to do it, or what they feel from a safety standpoint. But again, I mean, and I do think it would probably be a lot bigger, you know, project if that was the case. And I don't even
Didn't
know
you
if that would be
speak
a
with
direction.
Mark Susan regarding like even the places and how it was going to affect them, or maybe not with this big? I thought that was discussed.
I mean, I think
or was it
they were
Randy?
okay with this location, but it wasn't necessarily, you know, they didn't, I mean, the primary reason for doing it was not security. You know, that could be secondary, but it really was promotion of
The downtown.
downtown. And so, if the goal is security, then I mean, I think that's probably a bigger look. 'Cause, I mean,
Yeah, and that's one of the problems I have with cameras going up everywhere,
Right.
is that it starts with one idea, and then it morphs into something different over time.
I think
And
it's the, I'm sorry, is that your
I just want to make sure that while we're doing that we're not eroding each of our own public interest and our private interest as individuals with that. So it's a slippery slope. You have to be very careful where you go there.
I think that if the intent of these cameras is for promotion of downtown, the dollars would be better spent in a different way. That's my opinion.
So is there
I would
direction from the committee? Do we want to
There
set
has
this
been
aside
money
for a little
spent,
while
right?
and bring it back up?
I think,
I mean,
what about,
I'm just looking for direction this evening, kind of what, would you guys like this to
What
kind of
was
be
the-
for
so
several
the-
months for now? Because
that's
of forever?
the money that you
Yeah.
have in there right now, the money that you were showing right there, is that for a different camera or what we have right now?
Oh, it's for, it would be a nicer camera than this.
Like the
same place.
In the same place, probably higher and a better mount.
Would you be okay, since this is already being put up and everything, would you be okay if we were to put it like a live and see, or even go to town council first and see, hey, how many views are we getting? Can we get a different direction from doing this? You know, like what you were saying, maybe do a QR codes for different things or whatever,
Yeah.
prices. Maybe this will be taken over by DCI in some way, or...
In our IT
I mean, she
department.
didn't even hear about it before until now, so maybe this is something that we can leave, I would just say just leave it for another meeting.
Okay, because
where we
our
have more
IT
direction.
department, their knowledge has grown in this, and I think that, you know, we really didn't pose the question, can we take this existing camera and put that on YouTube, and then put that live? Because before, when we had it live for a little bit, it was on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
And,
Kind of
you know,
just like to know how private citizens feel about it, you know, whether they feel like it's a extra measure of safety that's helping to protect them, or if they feel like it's an invasion of their privacy.
I think it's downtown, I don't think you can have privacy in downtown.
That's true, but
And so if
Yeah.
you're coming to downtown, you are definitely
I mean,
losing all privacy you got, you know? I mean, that's just how I feel.
it's true.
You got police officers, offices, governmental offices
Well,
downtown.
they're everywhere, but there's a difference between an individual putting the camera up and the government putting a camera up. so I just want to be very cautious with that,
I think we should just bring it out for another,
Okay,
meeting.
so we're kind of setting this up now.
Because
Okay.
I think we got
Is that-
DCI and
That's the
hopefully
direction?
they'll bring more direction and stuff. Would you be okay bringing it up for another council meeting where there is more time to
absolutely.
discuss?
Okay. Or another central business?
Central
Central
business.
Okay, very good.
Sorry, said something else.
I mean, when you're ready for council, we'll go to, you know.
No, no,
I-
no,
I
no,
figured
but
you all
no,
wanted to have
I'm
consensus
sorry, central
before.
business.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
And maybe
then-
Amanda will have more ideas about, you know what, this would be great for opening up new businesses. Look at that, they get to see all the downtown, how there are so many people walking the streets. There you go.
There's also, like, just quick while you guys are talking, I'm looking up what are the benefits of for tourism of a camera downtown, you know, driving traffic to your website, social media, that's important. Like Ashley said, having a ticker on the bottom that might talk about, hey, going on tomorrow in town, like, there's definitely benefits probably beyond just the photo part that we should probably dig into and just see if the value's there for that. You know, like,
Yeah.
what are other tourism organizations using them for? How are they using them? What benefits are they reaping from it instead of just not knowing, I guess.
Well, we had a lot of those things were brought up, and that's why central business took over years ago. I mean, this hasn't been, when was the last time we had this conversation? It's been over a year. Craig is not being with us, and so, I mean, this has been a long time. I wanted to see where it was because I knew we had a camera somewhere.
Right.
And I was like, Andrew, where, do we still have this thing? Whatever happened to it? So I think right now I'm not even prepared to take on and telling you why and reasons why we had this or not. It's been too long and there's too many things involved. So I know it was brought up through the central business, for businesses and to help the downtown and tourism somehow.
How long has it been up?
It's not even working for
About a
the
year.
public. For over a year.
Yeah, it's probably been over a year.
Yeah, it's definitely been over a year.
It may, yeah, because it was probably 2022.
It's almost 2 years
Yeah,
ago,
yeah,
because
it was-
Casey hasn't even seen it.
It was 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been over 2 years. So, I mean, from things from there to now, so this can be, you can look it up, and she can look it up, and bring it to DCI, and you guys can look it up, and Amanda's gonna bring us all these great ideas, so, there you go.
Wow, Amanda, that's a heavy lift.
All right, can we, town entrances, gateways, rehabilitation, or beautification discussion.
Okay, so I really, we had this on the agenda, that it was requested to be put on the agenda.
It was
so-
a question.
so,
I want to beautify the town,
Okay.
and I have no ideas, just like the camera,
Yeah.
for bringing them up.
okay, so.
That's why I'm so
yeah.
excited, and she's leaving.
I'm just using the restroom.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
but in the meantime,
So
we
I
have
guess-
the
yeah,
entrances,
Right,
for example, you come in through, and I know the town has done something,
mm-hmm.
which
So
is
we've got wayfinding signage, yeah.
the wayfinding signs,
Mhm.
and they look, I think they are pretty.
Mhm.
And so that is being great, but as far as like and I'm not gonna talk bad about Public Works because they do a great job with what the money they get and everything else, but how do you guys see the town looking, and what do you want to see in those entrances to the town?
Mhm.
I know some of them, we don't have a lot of control, especially because of VITA
That's right.
involvement.
Yes.
And that, we'll never get through it unless we decide to take on the job ourselves and say, hey, we're gonna cut the grass around this area to make it look better, but, and that's obviously another question, because you may involve some money, spending some money, but I am concerned on the fact of, for example, the one coming from Route 8. You have a beautiful wayfind sign, and then there's potholes all around.
Mhm.
And if that's the presentation, I always think that the first thing that you see is the entrances to a town, and I always go to Whitfield. I'm glad you brought it up. Whitfield has done a great job. You going into these places, it's like, wow, this is nice. Radford City has done a great job, the main entrance when you are coming from the bridge,
Mhm.
beautiful. They have murals on the other side of on the west side at the police station. They have a mural, welcome you to the city. On the other side, they have done some work with the Radford University, and they have worked with other venues to make sure that how does your entrance to the city look like? You know, is it supposed to look like? On the other side, they did like the rhomboid or the circle thing or whatever, and then they did. You can see it coming in from every direction that they have done something, you know. How can we do, you know, not copying them or maybe copying them, but making sure that we keep up with either maintenance or maybe beautifying, even if it involves flowers, if it's paving, if it's sidewalks, if it is maybe just a sidewalk for, you know, for 10 feet, and then you have a sign, and then you have another one on the other side. I don't know what that looks like.
Okay.
And I'm just bringing out ideas because my main goal is for the town to look beautiful. Who doesn't want a town to look beautiful? We all do. And I think that's why we're here, and we have businesses here and everything else. So keeping with that, you know, how do we do that?
Okay. I think the signs we can look at, I can talk with Public Works about doing some landscaping. I know we've been planning, you know, there was some plans for landscaping, and for some of the existing.
Specific areas, or?
Well,
No, just a gateway.
the sign, the one sign that's right near Food Lion, there was some plans for landscaping there. The sign by Clayton Homes for Route 8, that's a tricky area. We have a limited easement area, but we can look to see, you know, is there basically maybe some low-lying bushes that we can put to soften that up. We do have a lot of entrances into town, you know, from, I mean, there's a lot, you know, probably more than Radford, you know, I mean, between the interstate and the bypass and then Pepper Ferry and Radford and Main Street and, you know, Route 8 and Roanoke Street and, yeah.
Well, and I'm just, and this is where that facade grant money, if it's not used for that, can we turn it into, let's just say, we're not going to use $25,000. Well, that's part of the beautification. Can we do something together in collaboration? Because if you do fix the entrance to your town, I think that's still investing in your businesses.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're doing that, you're still welcoming. I love, and this is probably one of the things that you like about businesses. When you first go in, it's nice to have a welcoming, you know. And so if we do that with our signs, you're welcoming people, they want to come back.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, we have had historically a landscaping program. I don't know how well it was marketed. It was before I was here, but you'll see a few along North Franklin. Well, really, the one, I'm thinking one.
Sponsored by Gay and
Yeah, which is nice. And they changed the sign to be Foresight now, too.
Oh, yeah, Foresight, yeah.
Well, what about all the grant money that the Crow Creek watershed with native species? Is there a way to tap into that in certain areas for downtown to be able to landscape with native species that help the watershed, but also beautify like what we're looking at?
Right.
So
I can ask the PDC, the Regional Commission.
There are medians all around town that it would be nice to see that same kind of landscaping thing done too.
Yeah. And you know, part of the Midtown placemaking plan was really to look at, and we do have an upcoming grant for improvement of the lighting there, and so you know, which will it'll make the lighting consistent with what we have on North Franklin near the rec center. But then it also talks to what kind of street trees can you plant to make it look, because that is one of our main corridors through town. So I do think that area would give us a big bang for our buck, because we have, you know, as far as, I don't know the exact count, I would say that it's probably between 15,000 to 20,000 trips per day in that area.
Area is this?
Yeah, I'm sorry, from like the rec center to downtown. Yeah.
And now that area that was purchased, well, actually, I'm sorry, I'll take that back. It was given to us by Vita, the one by the rec center.
Yes.
From Sheets to the rec center. I mean, there's a big possibility that we can do beautiful landscaping on that area and then beautify that area so it doesn't look like there's trash piled up all on the side of the road and everything else.
This isn't very efficient. Okay, here we go. So Palmer Drive, there's a part of Palmer that's over here, and then it continues before, it used to continue before the interstate. I mean, now it's broken, but this area was surplus by VDOT, and we did take it over, and we do have to have a public purpose there for it. We can't just resell it. But the idea
Well,
was
can it be a
to have-
beautification project
Yeah,
from us?
absolutely. This area, I think, is actually VDOT's,
It's still-
and we're concerned, that's.
Can
this
we
area.
work, I mean, will Vita get upset if we do some landscaping? I know,
They would probably
may-
let us, they'd probably want us to maintain whatever we do.
but I mean,
We've had to do that with the area.
but it's our best interest for the town to look in a prettier way.
Yeah,
Because I know sometimes even by the rec center, before they even, and some of the areas that they own, I mean,
Right,
sometimes
in
it's
this
3 feet
area.
high.
Yeah.
Andrew?
Yeah.
Sorry.
right. Yeah, and Randy can provide some, I know we've kind of gone round and round with this before, and it does get tricky. Do we pay for it, or are we patient with them to, if we want it to look the way we want it, I think we have to control it. And if we have to control it, then there's an added cost
Yeah.
to it. I think
One of
there's
the
been a-
things
there's
that
been a
always
hesitancy
stands out
to
when
that.
you go into
Yeah.
Blacksburg,
Yeah.
it's always beautiful.
Oh,
you know,
it's
in
gorgeous.
season.
It is
And,
gorgeous.
one of the things, I don't know if I guess you guys got the article that they had about the top 50 places in the United States for economic growth, and the New River Valley made that number 49. I think they were like 21 in mid-sized metropolitan areas, but 49 out of 50 overall, and the only area in Virginia, by the way. So, I think that's something we can capitalize on as well. If you didn't see that article, I'd be happy to send it to you.
Yes, please, and we're gonna grow that, so we're gonna be going up the list.
Well, and something I just saw today online, looking up an article for something, I forget what it was, but, I think it was 2019 or 20, Christiansburg was rated number 2 of places to live in Virginia.
Yes, yes.
And
So
now,
we've got a lot
remember,
going
that
on
one,
here,
it was
so
like it's from a pay advertisement too, if I'm not wrong.
I'm not sure, I mean, I just saw, when I saw.
Oh, no, I know,
It
because
might
I
have been a
posted it
nerd-
online,
it might have
believe
been
me.
a NerdWallet
And I got like
one, yeah.
blasted with people.
Well,
I mean, I was so excited, because,
Well, I like it here.
It was something surprising to me, I was like,
And then everybody, they educated me to tell me that it was a pay advertisement. And I was like, oh, shit. And so I remember that one because it really got me into a lot of help, believe me.
well, if I ever
Hey, you're
bring it up.
fantastic growing area though
In
in
Virginia,
Virginia.
in
Yeah,
Virginia, so
for
that one,
economic development.
that one, yeah, that one seems a lot more legit. When I learned my lesson on that one, so it's funny you brought it up.
And there was a lot of reasons. I'll send that article to you. It wasn't very long, but it was informative, and I thought it was really well-written and highlighted the things that we have going on very well. And, part of that success was that there's still these 2 small towns that have their own kind of jam going on, and, that still small town appeal that people are looking for. So that was a big part of why we were the only place in Virginia.
So, you know how the whole thing with the pocket park worked out and everything else? I think the idea here is to do something like that, and maybe, is reaching out to more big or small business owners and say, hey, would you like to take an entrance, or would you like to do something in the medium somewhere? Or maybe we should say, David Hagan or somebody out there will say, hey, you know what? We would love to take care of the entrance closer to, Pepper Street, or 114 or Bradford Road, or who is to say, they weren't, he owns over there by Line, I think. But I'm just saying, not that one business owner, but all of them overall, and just say, hey, how will you be, feeling to share some of this work with the town to make it, pretty? Because I think, like you're saying, they have a big investment in the town, and I'm sure they love for that beautification project to grow even more. So, I don't know. That's just an idea, and you get to work on the rest, so that's great. Next time, I'll just see it all come to life.
We'll come back, probably with more questions, but we'll come back.
Can somebody pull Johanna from the cloud?
So you're bringing all the businesses, he's fixing all my entrances, we're great over here. Next town council meeting, we'll see all the pictures. And I just get to share them on Facebook. Anyway, next one, or you got any more,
No, so basically, we'll kind of put some ideas together. It's, to manage a project like that, we'll take some resources and maybe it's a matter of kind of just putting it out there to see if anyone could bite. When you do have people, you don't get as a cohesive of a design when you're having individuals or groups taking, medium here and medium there.
Sponsorship
Yeah.
for entrances, like the town puts together the way it should look, and you can pick this level, or level 2, or level 3, but that way it could be cohesive, and they all like match each other, but
Stick their little sign out there.
And maybe it's
sponsored
sticking
by-
with, now
They
that
run it.
the rec center, when I was part of the rec center, we came out with this great thing with Brian Lee about the cleaning of the streets and things like that you can adopt I think.
Yeah,
Maybe you do it something very similar to that, and you do it with that, maybe the group that is doing the, what? Adopt an entrance, there you go. Now Christine is going to be part of that group with you.
Here quietly.
Maybe chair.
There you go.
Scrub the bricks.
Anyway, so, but you see where I'm going with this. So anyway, town color palette discussion. I love this one.
Okay.
So I think, and I love my ideas, we have, so looking at it from artistic, looking at it from an artistic perspective, I see, and this is being very judgmental, and so I had to comment down on here. I get lost with all the color combinations of the town, and maybe what we have to do is just like keep it to, and maybe the rec center in that area of town, the blue colors and all the stuff goes well, and maybe we'll do that patch, this colors, and maybe the Cambria area will keep within this colors, and maybe the downtown area will keep it with these colors, and the way signs are just a way to put them all together and just make them perfect, But I just think, like, just looking at the downtown by itself, we have black chairs, we have green roofs, we got green lamps, we got, some things are, the way signs are gold and navy blue. You have, and then silver light poles, and then you have, there's like 5 or 6 colors downtown. And I know maybe it's too expensive to maybe change the poles in one color to make it look all the same, but I just think that we need to stick with 2 or 3 colors max instead of just a variety of colors. And I just think more uniform will look more presentable, and that's just to me. And maybe I'm the only one that thinks that way, and I would love to hear from you guys. How do you feel about it? And maybe it's fine with everybody, and maybe I'm just looking at it and it's just too many colors for me. But
And I think this had come up previously, and so Jim had looked at it, you know, what it would take
Yeah, and you
to
were gonna bring me some
replace the poles
prices
or
and
to,
stuff.
yeah, and this is what Randy and Jim had come up with. And so basically, if you were to replace all of the light poles downtown, you know, with the Charleston style black pole, you know, that would be, we've estimated 52, and that includes municipal parking lot lighting as well. That would be,
Can you make a bigger?
oh, sure, absolutely. Yep.
I'm just old.
So the cost of replacing the light poles altogether would be $360,000. If you were to power coat them, it would be about $41,000 or so. Now that does not include, you know, our mast arms for our traffic signals as well, and those are pretty complicated pieces as well with a lot of different green parts to them, so that those would be more expensive. This would just be for the light pole, so, you know, I mean, you could just kind of think it would probably be this or more for, you know, to paint, because that would be the only things that would be left that would be green downtown.
Let me ask you something. Is there any grants through the state or anything like that? Because I know that when we go to those VML shows and all this stuff, they have like all these lamps with solar panels and this, and they look beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Not that ours look bad, but, you know, if we get some kind of grant or something like that from the government, is there any possibility that those are accessible to us at all, or not a possibility?
I'm not offhand, I'm not aware of, you know, any grants. Most of the grants that we get are through, either federal or state agencies.
And maybe through them, you don't think they'll have something like that, maybe energy efficient grants or things like that?
Well,
like the
if it's
solar
energy
panel kind of
efficiency,
thing.
that may be a route, but, I mean, I know Wayne Nelson has been working with the Sustainability Committee on, he did quite a bit of research on solar, you know.
I wondered if
grants.
that
I
can
can
be,
ask him to see if
can
he
you
came
ask
up with
him and
something.
see?
Sure.
And then, obviously, replacing $363,000, I would definitely, I would probably just say no to that, and that's just me. But then $41,000, I mean, I know it's a lot of money, but then we're paying for facade grants to make the town look pretty. We're paying for all those things. I think, and who will be doing this work, by the way, if it was the painting,
It'd be
recording?
contracted, yeah.
Oh,
I
it
don't-
wouldn't
I
be
don't believe
the
it's
public
something
works.
That's not, let me see. Here's a note. So it potentially could be,
Oh, 3
Yeah,
employees,
yeah,
$25 an hour.
yeah.
Was it
potentially-
close for that, 41,000 still?
Yeah, so he did estimate it with, it looks like with employees and not being,
Okay.
not
Well-
being contracted. Good.
So that's great. I'm glad to hear
So
that.
basically it'd be just taking the pole down, putting a new pole, or putting the powder coated pole back up,
Say that again?
right?
Right, yeah.
What did you say?
Take it down, powder coat,
Yeah, they'd have to take the pole down.
but it
bring
wouldn't
to
be the
powder coated,
arms,
and
it'd
then
just be the pole.
Put the pole back in.
Mhm.
Now, where all did these poles include? Downtown and
So
in,
this is really downtown light poles, which, the,
just down
correct.
Main
yeah,
Street?
Main Street mostly, yes,
Yeah,
yeah. A little bit on Franklin.
yeah.
Well, what do you put in place first so that building facades are cohesive to the look? Because you get business owners who could go in and paint anything or use whatever color signage or something. So I feel like if you've spent the money after you put in place something where like the big buildings we're seeing are all cohesive in color and feel and style, so that then the price to powder coat the lamps is like the icing on the cake instead of starting with the lamppost. Like what could be done to encourage a color palette for downtown, a color palette for Cambria, for the building, the properties themselves?
And it would be an encouragement, you know, for
Right.
private property, because that is something that, you know, that we cannot regulate, you know.
Nor
yeah,
should we be
color.
trying to
Yeah.
regulate private industry
Because I
like
feel like
that.
that'll make, I mean, you could make a beautiful lamppost, but then
Yeah.
you have a giant yellow building that sticks out among red brick, you know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't, I feel like the lamps wouldn't make a difference.
It's
You
beautiful
wouldn't
when
see
somebody
it.
comes, you know, a plan comes together like that, but,
And-
again, I'm for individual freedom, you know, and trying to force people into doing something with their private property and their private business.
Yeah, that's,
It's
I
not
think
just-
the only thing we have control over is the town property.
Right.
And
But that's what I'm
obviously,
saying, like, would it be worth spending that kind of money if you're bigger?
I think if you have,
Is, you know,
I
in
think
all
if
the
you-
different colors.
I think if you're working with what you have today, which is very, we don't have bright colors downtown. Everything is so, you know, the only real color that I see downtown, obviously, is like red roofs and green roofs and blue roofs. But, I mean, talking about colors, we have a purple building downtown, you know, like some doors are painted purple, but everything else, it's, you know, I'm not saying
What color would you like to see the poles?
just stick with one color. You know what I mean?
A color?
I think that it will emphasize, like, for example, you have, not copying Blacksburg, but copying, it can be, you know, like, I mean, Blacksburg did their repainting, or I don't know if they replaced them or repainted them, but I know they had the same problem before. They had a whole bunch of colors and nothing matched. And then they had, even the trash cans were colorful. They have Virginia type colors. Now everything, I think the trash cans are black. I think the poles, everything is black, and then they have a black and yellow. And everything just kind of matches. So pretty, you know. And you can see a big change. I mean, it really, from me driving back and forth, I was like, wow, this is not Whitfield. They only have two colors. Most places keep within two colors. So if our downtown is more so into the, and like I say, it changes from place to place. You cannot expect the poles to be, you know, by the new park. No, they're brand new, and you're bringing that blue color, and it looks nice, it looks beautiful. I'm not talking about aquatic center area, I'm not talking about those areas, I'm just talking about the downtown, you know. And I think if you have, maybe it is, you know, maybe it's just the green colored on everything, maybe it's just, but then that doesn't match with the way signs, you know.
Well,
What are the
well,
three
maybe-
colors that
yeah.
you're gonna pick?
Yeah, maybe the idea is that the wayfinding signs kind of live on their own because they do tie the different parts of town together. And then we do have the green with the light posts and the mass arms for the street lights and for the traffic lights. And then we have the new benches. And then maybe it's a matter of the
But the
opportunity.
benches are black.
Right, so that's our third color. And then so we have an opportunity for, as we add new trash cans, as we add new planters, to make sure that they're matching. Because I'm not crazy about the pebble covered, trash cans and
agree.
planters, and I think that those are kind of, and it's with direction from this committee that could probably be faster than slower.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Also, like,
to move
making an
forward,
identity for Christiansburg. I feel like we need an identity, we need to, like, pick who we are and what we look like, because Blacksburg has a look, Floyd has a look, so what is Christiansburg? And then, moving forward, all of our trash cans are this color.
And like what I say, and this is why it's so great that you guys are here too with us, because I don't want this to be my decision. I want this to be a group decision. And for when we go to town council, get the involvement from them too, because it's so important. But I'm just throwing the ideas out there, what colors, and you're very good with colors too, and so are you, and everybody else in here has a talent. So bring those ideas in and say, hey, you know what, Johanna, I think, and Kim and Andrew, I think, maybe we'll paint all the light poles black, and with the black benches, and we have black trash cans, or maybe it's something other color. I just don't think that with where we have the green roof and the downtown building, and I look at it like the centerpiece, you know? You're always looking at that, or somehow or another that correlates. But I don't know, it may be cheaper to replace it. I don't know, everything else is green too. I'm just saying, there's so much green, and then you have blue and gold and stuff, which I like the modern colors.
I mean, it would be helpful to have a palette.
Don't you like it?
So that when conversations come up with staff, you know, with working with Randy and then working, you know, with Public Works, that there is, you know, been some direction that's been given by the
And
community,
maybe the
you know.
poles will be blue, a navy blue color, and then the roof and town hall will paint it blue, you know? I mean, everything else is blue. I'm just saying, blue and navy blue with brick color looks pretty too. And I'm just saying, that's just me. Or maybe it's black roof and everything else is navy blue. But how do you tie them together? You know?
I think you have to, like, make categories for what gets colored, like trash cans, lampposts, benches, planters, what else gets a color, that the town controls.
Well, and maybe
And
we
then
do
you pick
take a
a palette
walk
based on that,
downtown,
yeah.
all of us, one day and say, hey, you know what?
That would be a bad idea.
Okay.
Let's come out with an idea. Maybe
When
you
it's
bring out
warmer.
this to DCI and help us make some direction. Elder Travis is absolutely wonderful with a lot of the things, and so just I want more.
Cohesion.
Yes. And so there you go.
So Andrew, so I'm just trying to picture our street, the mass poles, like they're green,
Mhm.
then that's not gonna change because those will be way too.
It would be very.
So those are ultimately staying green, so it's just potentially why the other poles were decided to be green maybe in the past.
Mhm.
So we're gonna end up with green poles at the
Yeah,
intersection.
I mean, I think that was during the
All
sidewalk.
the intersections, so it's,
Right.
yeah.
And there are not that many either.
Just the two, right?
Yeah, there is only
Yeah.
two, and I mean, two, maybe we can work with Vita and say, hey, Vita, your poles need painting. Maybe somebody runs over them all over again. I'm sorry, nothing happened. Didn't say anything. And so, yeah. But anyway, so you get the idea, and great job, Andrew.
What kind of money is available for this? I mean,
Well, I think it would be a matter of as we're replacing trash cans, it depends. I mean, obviously, for this, it would need a budget item
budget item.
and be budgeted.
But we spend so much money in other things.
yeah.
Yeah.
That
so-
this will be like
I think,
tourism. If you don't do a lot with tourism, this can be your tourism money, you know, or that's $179,000 still goes to that every year. Maybe it's
those are
moving it
bigger
somewhere
bigger
else.
council questions.
Yeah.
Maybe the-
Anyway, but that's just my opinion.
Subcommittee.
There you go.
So it would need to be budgeted, and I think there are kind of, what level are you going? Are you looking to do, you know, replacement of the poles or the painting, or is it a strategy of, you know, as things come up as the planners? Because I think we do want planners downtown that have more of a reservoir for watering, so that we don't have to water as much. And so they are looking at the green, you know, planters to start to replace those. But if that's something that we feel like we want something that has that usefulness, but maybe it's, you know, as we're going downtown, we want to do something different, you know, but we are trying to keep with that color, you know, the green color.
Well, bring it over here first,
Yeah.
and let more people look at it, because I know it is not something
Yeah, 'cause
against
otherwise
guys,
it's
but my
just kinda
husband has a
makes it-
very crazy idea about things, and he just wants it one way, and I'm like, what do you do? You know, and so I think if we have more heads involved in this, and maybe, you know, I think it would be better than just spending money and having to deal with something else to deal now, because now we got green things, and that's gonna cost more money now that, you know, like I wish we have talked about before. I have been asking about benches, so I don't have a, you know, I feel bad now because I was like, the other day when Randy was saying, oh, they're done, I'm like, what color are they? He's like, black. Oh, you know, another color, you know, so, but I love black, but, you know, but then you still want to keep within the colors, so, before any money is spent, if we can come up with something, and maybe if it has to be quick, maybe we all have to go walking.
Say, this is what the town has
Yeah,
control over,
yeah,
and then
Yeah.
how it say something like that.
yeah, and I think it's a matter of showing, that this committee wants to be involved in those kind of, you know, those questions.
So you're the
decisions
messenger.
moving forward. I am the messenger.
There you go.
Very good.
Today, you're the builder, the construction worker, everything. Anyway, that was the color palette, ideas, discussions to increase businesses' involvement from all sides of town. Amanda and DCI. How can we have a meeting of all parties? How can we involve the people at the mall? How can we get DCI involved? How can we get business owners from Roanoke? How can we get, is there any way that we can maybe even have some kind of appetizers event over here at Town Hall and say, hey, you guys, come for that wonderful meeting and we'll just discuss about ideas. And maybe they're the ones that will be involved in fixing our gateways and rehabilitation and everything else and color palettes. But I'm just saying, it would be really nice, since we're central business, I feel like we're not just downtown, we are everywhere in the town. And that's where you play a game into it, you play party in it, and everybody else plays a party in it.
And there's a movement right now with the Economic Vitality Committee in the downtown to get our businesses involved and to discuss with them and talk to them. But the question is, what are we trying to get them involved in?
Involved in this decision making, like how do you want your gateways? Is there anything else that we can do with facade grants? Maybe it's not a facade grant, maybe something else to help them with their business. Maybe they need help with something with related, not paying for their signs, but maybe more direction without having to pay additional money for getting a permit before. Or, I don't know what that looks like, but more so a communication of all businesses.
Yeah, all those topics would attract a variety of different people based on their interest levels in those topics. So I don't think it would make sense to have a single meeting necessarily to discuss all of those different things. But maybe if you had a direction of, this is the main thing that we need to address first, or discuss with the businesses first, and then we can, you know, coordinate arrangement for that particular topic, and then go down the list and figure it out for the rest of them. And some people might want to be involved in every single one, and some people might change every single time. Yeah.
So I was part of the Birds before. It was a very big group of business owners. We met for years. You probably heard a lot about when we used to come for when the Starlight thing happened and everything else. And it was pretty big. We used to meet very regularly. We used to talk about things and what was impacting those businesses at the time, you know. And I think a lot of those things, a lot of those connections came really great business ideas, you know, like businesses like the one up on the hill by $5, the one by the one that has the U-Haul trucks. He met a lady over there.
Power Zone, I mean.
Yeah, Power Zone. They met over there, the lady that had the U-Haul company or whatever, they were at a meeting over there, and we're like, yeah, she was looking for businesses that will, you know, will be able to take on something like that, and then he was right there, he was able to take on the business. There were many businesses that got help from that, including like signs. There was the guy that did the, what's the name of that company that does the big signs? No.
Panorama or Sound
No.
Systems, Ballpark?
Ballpark, yeah, that one. And so there was a big help from all businesses on trying to collaborate with each other. Kind of like the Chamber of Commerce without having to pay.
There are other, I would say there are other networking groups, but they usually all do have some kind of fee to participate.
And that's the thing. the town, I would like something that you feel like you don't have to pay for it to belong to it, but you can bring ideas, and maybe nothing will come out of that. But I would
Where
really,
would you meet?
in town hall.
Would a first approach maybe be to, identify some folks from different parts of town and then to try to get them?
I kind of like the
Essential
idea for
business
the
meeting.
beautification. Maybe that would be a good thing to,
First topic?
yes, to bring people into and discuss. I think, I just think it makes for a lovelier community, but it also, as a business owner in Montgomery County, I know that beautifying areas doesn't hurt, so it's good for everybody, and I think that there might be some buy-in from businesses, wanting to contribute in some way.
I think we should be able to hit up Lowe's or Home Depot and see if they do like
I mean, Lowe's got an entrance right there, an exit or entrance, whatever you want to call it.
There's maybe larger businesses that can afford to, to do that. You put a little sign up in there, like they do the Kiwanis, just, to give an ode to them. And I think that might be a viable way to include businesses and, get what we want to accomplish at the same time.
I think the main idea for me to say this was the fact that I feel like the town, even though we're a town, we're divided. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I just feel like we are definitely very different from each other, but we are together. We are still a family because we're still Christians there. So how can we have some kind of representation? It can be one person from Roanoke Street. Maybe more groups will be created out of this, and maybe somebody will be the big person for Roanoke Street and Radford Road, or somebody else from the mall side or whatever. But just trying to have not like and maybe someone from Cambria or whatever that they come out to the table and say, you know what, I want to have this in Cambria, or I want to see this by the mall, and I don't know what that looks like. And the beautification of the gateways is a very big way to do that, like she's saying. And this, like I said to you, I'm just throwing out ideas out there because when I see the town, I see this beautiful town, but I wanted to feel more connected, And so I don't want to have that idea of, well, if you want to have a business, like somebody even in council said, that if you want to have a business, you really, to get the most clients, you need to be by the mall, or you have to be by the side if you want to have this type of business, or you have to be on this other. It's just how do you work around those things where all businesses have the same purpose, but we get something accomplished that will make us look more united.
Is there a way to encourage committees for each area in Christiansburg? Like you have PCI for downtown, have somewhere for uptown, have somebody representing Cambria, and you have the same 2 to 3 people representing a group in that area, and then those 2 to 3 people all gather to be able to collectively,
How do we engage into trying to open this up and say, you know what, feel some pride for this area? How do we encourage that interaction? Because it would be really nice to have ideas on how to do that. Because maybe it's working out where you have meetings early in the mornings, or late in the day, or in the middle of the day, or working with that type of business. You see a lot of businesses by the mall that are open late hours. You see businesses downtown closing early in the day. Maybe the times don't really work together, but how do you make those times work together for, like you're saying, having maybe a representative or 3 representatives from each area? And maybe it's only 1 meeting a year, or maybe it's just
some be quarterly.
Yeah.
And they have to, I guess, have the willingness to create their own committee, and then they have to vote or elect the people that will come to the meeting to represent them and share their things. And I don't know if that's something the town can encourage at all, or I don't know who can encourage that, just to put it out. And then, like the appetizer thing, send your representatives from your areas and.
Well, one thing to really tackle, I know, and it's so hard to say this, I would love to have, as a customer, I would love lower meal stocks. Unfortunately, our tax money that we use in our budget, the majority of it comes from, we have to count on that revenue. And, I would love to tell Amanda as a business, telling business owners to come to Christiansburg, we got 5% meal stocks, everybody come, but that's not the reality, so we have to work with some problems that we also, they are not problems, but that's how the majority of our stuff gets paid in the town, meal stocks and lodging taxes. So how do you work on maybe creating that within, with some money, trying to collect some money with those problems that we have? Do you have any ideas? And maybe this is something for other meetings. I know this has been so long.
From statistics that I'm reading, eating out is becoming a luxury because of the expense of it. And I've always been more, make things affordable and people will spend more. So I'm not exactly sure that we're doing the right thing by having the ultimately highest tax around for food when it's keeping many people at home. So.
What about if that can be maybe something that can be talked, or maybe the stormwater things? There was a committee that was created to try to help business owners and things like that.
That'll bring people out if you want.
You're going to I'm sure you want to hear what they have to say.
Okay, well, that one will be the first time. You want to save taxes, or stormwater fees come out. And you'll probably see people even from Walmart management come over.
We're going to talk about taxes. Oh, wait, no, call it out. Sorry. We're confused.
Well, could you start with a more unifying, first, out of the gate thing, the entrances or something like that to kind of,
Yeah, because the whole idea is to bring the business community together and improve circumstances for them, and outcomes, which is good for everybody. So I totally agree. You don't want to start out at the gate. Because if you ask people's opinions, they're going to give them to you.
I think this.
So there needs to be some perimeters around what you're asking. I'll give you a good example. Okay, I go to church. Okay, and we opened up a few years ago. I've been on the staff for many years, and new pastor thought it'd be a great idea if he just asked for comments. Well, about 2 months later, he comes back into a meeting and said, I don't know what I'm going to do, because people started putting their comments in the offering box instead of the offering. He just couldn't handle it. It was bringing him way down, mentally, because he asked for comments and the complaints started rolling in. So be careful what you ask for, and I think having some parameters and some type of agenda, so that you're not opening up a can of worms, but it can be productive, is very important if you're going to go down that road.
Agreed. I think, Johanna, now that I have a clearer picture of what that line item on our agenda means, we can brainstorm a little bit and come back to that as well.
And I think a lot of these points are just starting points for this year, because I think I don't want to come to central business meeting and not have anything to talk about as far as what are we doing for the businesses? How are we going to fix this? Or how can we help areas? And I think, with this idea, maybe it's a starting point for the rest of the year. What can that look like, and maybe at the end of the year, we have to fix all the problems, and then next year, we don't have to worry about it. And would be happy about that.
I'm going to go ahead and send you this article. I think that you'll find that you can use some of that to help promote, in the area very easily.
Good, we need that, because right now we hear against that Christiansburg is the place that businesses come to die.
I've heard that. And I've also
We need to
heard some
change
horror
that.
stories about businesses trying to get up and run it, that felt like they were put through the mill. And that should not be the experience. It hasn't been my experience, thank God, but it shouldn't be anybody's experience. Opening a new business is, well, it's not for sissies, first of all.
Yeah.
I've been in business 30-plus years, and, to have longevity, you have to be able to
Navigate.
change with the times. But it's a scary thing, and, we need to make it easier, not more difficult for people.
Well,
To do
I think
that.
that's what the intent of coming,
Yeah.
to meet with me, so that I can lay it all out, but then I think a lot of people almost
Overwhelmed.
get a little frightened by the steps, going, oh my gosh, what am I getting myself into?
Yes,
Because there's a
exactly.
lot
It's
involved.
overwhelming,
Yeah.
and it's just like anything you get into.
Mhm.
If you knew everything that was involved when you started, you
Probably
would
wouldn't
never
have done
take a step.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of a good thing too, but.
I think that, with having, like what you're saying, having a business is definitely really challenging. But then, how do you work around the fact that so many of your businesses downtown are really not businesses, are governmental offices or nonprofits? And so, or medical facilities or some kind of lawyer's office. And so, I can tell you from being just a landlord, I can say, I can have tenants all day long for lawyers. I mean, lawyers is just a way to go in Christiansburg. I can rent all day long. And we really have taken a step into, like, not discriminating against lawyers, but saying, hey, I want something else here. And it takes a lot. You have a lawyer that may want to pay $2,000, and then you're making a change in charging $1,100 because you want a different type of business that's going to create more businesses. And so I think it's very difficult right now where we are in downtown, especially because of those, which they are needed, obviously government agencies are needed, but how can you ask for bakery stores and things like that when there's so many things that you have to go through, And so one of the city and area problems that we had years ago, I think there are things that have been able to be changed over time, but I think one of the biggest things that has to be changed from me going through from a whole transformation of building and keeping this building was all of the money that was spent in things that we thought will never be, we never had to do, like replacing all the walls, replacing all the ceilings, putting new, we had to gutter the building to the gods, and that was $300,000 extra to what we thought we were going to be paying. And so there are ways to do grandfather things, to be able to keep those buildings and maybe not replace all the walls. Maybe it doesn't involve all of these things, but there are things that you can do to help those those landlords or whatever, or those businesses that are going to be opening up in the near future or the later future to say, hey, you don't have to do all this. There's things that you can do around it. Obviously not breaking the law, but working it within the system where, this...
Yeah, and I think our building department does a pretty good job that I've witnessed, working with folks. So if you can use the building code that deals with historic buildings, but you kind of have to, it has to be code compliant, and so you have to figure out that way for it to be code compliant.
But there is waivers that you can do. When I went to that downtown event, I don't know, did you go to it? We went to Richmond, and it was a downtown thing or whatever.
Main Street.
There were a lot of things that were discussed, where buildings in other places, Salem or whatever, you don't have to go through all that. You don't have to replace drywall, you don't have to replace all the things, And so those are things that can be discussed on another time, but I do think that those are things that for DCI aspect, if you want more businesses downtown, and if you want, there are reasons why some of the, like especially one building that hasn't been occupied for a while is there,
And I do think we lack square footage, and a lot of buildings that have been taken down, they're just parking lots now, and they haven't been replaced. And so you have kind of front teeth, your smile is missing teeth, when you go down the street with the downtown development.
Which I have a big problem with Montgomery County right now. Anyway, other items, do you guys have anything else?
I just wanted to gauge to see how often you want to meet. Some committees meet quarterly. The Bikeway Walkway Committee has gone to every other month. This is met in the past, has tried to meet every month. That didn't always work, but.
Do you guys mind if we start out with every month until we get a plan, and then we can go from there?
I was gonna mention that, especially
And then
for
if we
the
can go
Passaic
to,
rain updates and things like that, because those days, believe it or not, you saw it, they come quick. And then by the time you have to advertise and everything else, I don't want to feel rushed, and I think a lot of it, we're working with other members and they, that.
I'm already ahead of the game though on all of it for this year.
Wow. That's great.
I have all the documents ready, everything's like, we're ready to go.
Good.
So it's really about what changes you guys are looking to make, so that's what
But I
we're
think,
really-
maybe the next meeting it would be emphasized on that. And you can even have it more than once a month, I know you'll hate that, but at least until we get to that point where the applications are out and we're all done and clear,
Can we plan for next month's meeting to
Yeah,
maybe meet a little earlier in daylight and take a walk downtown as part of the first?
Yeah, that'd be great. We're working with daylight savings time too, so we'll have a little bit more time as well, in the evening. So, but yeah, do you want to kind of take it month by month as far as figuring out the time and the day?
Right now, let's send
okay.
some schedules and
Okay,
stuff, and
all right.
then I know DCI has got a lot of work to do now, and.
Okay.
Do you have any other?
Amanda, that article I sent you was from Onward NRV.
Oh, okay.
Do you want it to say anything?
Yeah, I mean, mostly, Kim, we haven't met, I'm Chris Chittenden. I'm the VP of DCI, and I also own Cheapgrass Yoga next to Hard Park Barber, so I'm a downtown business owner and a Christiansburg resident. It was really important for me to be downtown when I opened my business because I believe in what's going to happen there. It's very important. But anyway, the point of that is, I know that we're working on some stuff, and we have gone from a board of 4 to a board of 9 with 20-plus committee members on 4 committees. So we are an official force that really wants to see some forward momentum, and we're really willing to participate. We're all volunteers, though, and we're business owners, but we have some really amazing people between developers and engineers and business owners and economic developers. I mean, we really all do have a giant heart for all of Christiansburg, but specifically the belief that downtown can be a destination and a vibrant place for our community and for visitors to be. So I was glad to see 5 of our Economic Vitality Committee sitting here today and 6 last night. 6 tonight?
Was it a 6 tonight?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Okay, sorry.
You're good. Usually I'm wrong on the math. Usually you're right. So anyway, we just really do want to figure out and work with the town. If you look at our mission, it's working with the town to make this something amazing for all of us.
I do think too that, and I appreciate your time, and I appreciate all you guys' time. You have done a really good job, and you're getting better at it too, day by day. But as far as the one thing that I think you just mentioned was working with the town, I'm gonna add an item right there, or another agency in there, working with the county. I think, and this is just my personal thing too, I am very aggravated this week regarding our downtown, because who doesn't want a beautiful town to look at? And just seeing the plans of what they are getting rid of, they got rid of the playground building not too long ago, the county did. They're getting rid of the magistrate's building this week. And just looking at the new structure that's gonna be built, have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen the pictures. I mean, the drawing.
The front of the building is gonna be on First Street, not on Franklin Street. Franklin Street is gonna look all brick and just wall, and with some parking spaces. They're taking away over half of the parking spaces with what they're doing. The building is only gonna be a one-story building. You have plans, right? You have them, and then the one side, no, it's one story.
Okay.
And it's one story, and the one front of the building, half of the building is just brick and nothing, and the other one has got some weird windows, and that's it. There is not a real entrance to it. There is nothing historical looking. There is nothing that matches the town. The courthouse is a huge building, but at least the front, you can look at it and say, it's beautiful, It matches the downtown. The 911 building, it looks like a structure from another planet, but it's, it doesn't look like your downtown building. You have beautiful historical churches. You had a beautiful courthouse in the past, which is gone, but there is no. And I think if there was a force with a group like DCI, and if they would have gone, and there's still time to go to the county and say, the supervisors, the next meeting, and say, you guys, you're spending this many millions of dollars on this structure that's gonna look like another jail. We want to look at a beautiful structure. We don't want to look at a whole bunch of walls of block or brick. And so this is where DCI and these communities, these groups are created to make a difference in this. And I think, and don't get me wrong, your mission is being really good at, everything you guys are doing. But I do think it's more so not in the town level, but the county level as well, especially because the big players are there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so, and this is,
And we have the county seat here, right, so that's unique as opposed to some other.
yeah, and so,
Right.
and so,
It is a big portion of your downtown.
Right,
It's a
exactly,
big
and
footprint.
it's not necessarily true for all downtowns, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's
So-
a unique feature for us.
and I am just gonna give you a personal experience from this week. There was no public notice anywhere. I'm a town council person. I should know more information than everybody else. I had no clue until she sent an email the other day. And then I was even talking to her. Do you see the ugly fence they are putting in the downtown? I wanted to scream. I wanted to call Andrew Warren and say, what the hell are you doing? So anyway, but anyway, no, but no, like, I was like, are they putting this ugly fence down here? No, it wasn't thankfully.
Yeah,
It was a construction fence.
Yeah.
And then it was a construction fence. What are they doing? What, like,
Happening there.
there were no pictures, there was nothing online, there was nothing you could see. There was no, they didn't even come to planning commission, there was no public notice. And so, to me, I'm looking at it from a business owner perspective. Yesterday, so we're getting a business downtown, and another one, and it's very close to the courthouse, and then all decided, I had one of my workers quit on me yesterday because of the noises were so bad yesterday morning, to the point that I was aggravated all morning yesterday, because I'm like, I am not just in government, I am right here next to you, and I'm just getting this business. I was really ready to pack my bags and say, I don't want a business here. I already had to deal with North Franklin Street, and that was before you were there. When we had the project on Franklin Street, that was a nightmare for me as a business owner. We had a whole bunch of apartments empty for months, for 7 months, because nobody wanted, the town was doing construction work at nighttime. Nobody could sleep in those apartments at nighttime. The noises and everything else, so you can see my frustration here. How do you want to move to a downtown area where all of a sudden now there's construction, and you don't know what's gonna happen the next day, because you may hear drilling at 8 o'clock in the morning, you have no clue what's going on. And then half of your parking spaces are gone. And so, I think working with the county is a big part for DCI, not just, and for you, Amanda, too. I mean,
she does work for the town, so we, as far as talking to the county about,
no, businesses, like, if she happens to know of something that may affect in one way or another, because businesses are being affected, because now there is no parking, Now, obviously, the town is trying to do something else, but this is something that's affecting other businesses too. This is not just affecting, the bakery.
her role is not to notify about current development.
No, it's not.
for people to make judgment on whether it's gonna impact.
It's not, but I can
Yeah.
come to her and complain and say, you know what, Amanda, I'm frustrated with this, tell me, And maybe there is a venue that she can relay, I know that there is GCI now, so I'm gonna be contacting you. But anyway, but there is venues, that's why I was saying, having somebody in those different places in the town is so important, to be a speaker, to say, you know what, I don't like what this construction is going on Roanoke Street. I'm gonna go and see other business owners and see how they're handling this, or, I don't know. I'm just telling you that was my experience this week, and it's been an experience in the past with other things, so it's just, and I think with you guys' work that you're doing, maybe it's working together with the county as well, and say, you know what, we're here too, and we're a big part of your tax-paying income that you get. Not talking bad about the county, but we pay a lot of taxes to the county. Most of our taxes go to the county. So, anyway.
No, thank you. No, it's a good consideration for sure. Think about how we can.
If I may, under the other, we spent a fair amount of time hearing great ideas from you, but what I would like to see on future agendas for you folks to hear is some of the great ideas that we get through our Economic Vitality Committee and DCI, so that you can be aware of what these business owners and our downtown people are looking for from the business perspective. So, hearing that feedback from that, I think we're in a unique position to be able to gather those details and bring them back to you. So maybe having a piece of the meeting be, sounding board for us to be able to echo those sentiments.
I love that.
That would be very
That would be
helpful.
Yeah, so that's the only thing I wanted to say under the other, is to please allow that on the next committee agenda.
Do you have anything else? I know it was such a long meeting, I'm sorry. I know we're supposed to keep it together, but I feel like these items are so important too, and all the work that all of you are doing is very important. So thank you for your time. And this meeting is adjourned.